What's going on Facebook and YouTube Live? Man, it's been a while since I've been live. Been fishing all summer. Decided to halt the live show during the summertime. I just don't have time for it because I'm usually traveling and fishing. But now, fall, winter, into the early spring, live every Tuesday, starting right meow.
Arms way up in a cat and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. You gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-loop that's right up at you like what you feel. Step on the deck, give it a whirl. Hello, welcome to my world.
Again, guys, what's going on? It's been a while since I've been live. We're going to talk about a few things today, talking about what I got coming up for you guys this winter season when it comes to live. Talk about a little bit of what's happened to me as far as the fishing season and what I have planned for next year. We're also going to talk about something brand new to the market. Well, people can get their hands on them now, and that is the brand new Corrado 150 MGL. If you haven't had a chance to look at one of these things, we're going to take a look at it here on this show. So again, thanks for joining tonight live. Appreciate if you guys give this thing a share and get this thing going. Again, we're going to be live every Tuesday unless something crazy happens at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We got some pretty big people going to be coming on the show hopefully very soon. We're going to have Matt Robertson back on the show if he will. OnAnotherLine Fishing. That's where this comes from. If you guys don't know about that, I have a lot of people on my YouTube channel wanting to know where they can get their hands on an OnAnotherLine shirt or hat. First and foremost, this is not my hat. This is one of the coolest hats ever. This is my hat. Obviously, I purchased, but it's not my signature hat. This is Matt Robertson. You can find these things at OnAnotherLine.com. So without the little, just ONEM fishing.com. So with that being said, without further ado, let's get into it. First and foremost, this episode of On Another Line Live is brought to you by the Tackle Box in South Point, Ohio. Greg Drown and the people up there at the Tackle Box have been hooking me up for years. That's exactly where this reel came from. Went out and purchased one for myself. Going to be a game changer. I'm going to be replacing a lot of my E-Series Chronarchs with this reel. Just for the simple fact is I feel like that this reel is up to par with the Chronarchs that I bought 8 to 10 years ago, and it's time for a change. The Chronarchs are awesome. I love them. It's at the point now where I'm going to have to rebuild them with new bearings and stuff, or buy new reels. And I got so many of the Chronarchs, it's probably just as easy to buy new ones because there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. There's a ton of, there's about $50 to $75 for the parts and stuff that I have to put in the reels to make them new again. So I think I was going to throw my money at some 150 MGL Corrados. But with that being said, you guys can take a look, and if I have any of these things for sale, I'll ship them out to you. Quick update. You guys have been following me on Facebook and YouTube and stuff for a while. I posted a video, man, it was midsummer, it seems like now. I think it was July. I posted that I sold 4 NRX rods. So I wanted to upgrade my NRX lineup to the NRX Plus. I got the 822 SJW, I'm sorry, the shaky head rod, SYR, and I have a new 2021 Accents on that thing, and it's phenomenal. So I fell in love with it. So I was like, you know what? I'm upgrading. So I posted all of my NRX rods online for $325 a piece. I sold them all within like an hour and a half of them being online, which, it's a great deal. It's half price basically. And I'm still waiting on my my NRX Plus, but what's happening? Hey Mitch, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining, buddy. Misty, can you talk about why you're late getting online? My clothes rack fell on me and I need assistance. Yes, that's true that she did do that, and I had to run upstairs. So luckily, everything's all good. Aaron Strickland, sell me your old ones, man. I sold them all. They were all gone. I sold them July. I sold them in. Are you talking about the Corrados or the Chronarchs? I'll let you know if that's what you're talking about. I'll definitely get you first shot at them. I think I have 5 of the Chronarch E series. But without further ado, let's talk about some things that are going to be, what we're going to talk about. First off, let's look at the season recap when it comes to On Another Line. I've had an amazing season this year. I didn't fish any giant tournaments, and I wanted it that way. I wanted to fish some local club tournament guys, so I fished with Lewis County Lunkers this year almost exclusively. We fished with Lawrence County Bass Club for the very first tournament of the year. We rolled out to Grayson, Kyle and I did, and fished with the club out there. And one of Kyle's batteries was bad, so we had a really expensive 45 minutes on the water. We paid our dues. Both of us paid our tournament entry fee, and we made it back in the back of Deer Creek and realized that one of his batteries was bad. So it was pretty much a one and done for us for Lawrence County. Kyle didn't get to come in that much anyway. But I made a pact to myself that I wasn't going to fish any big BFLs or anything, just for the simple fact is like I want to get back to the point of liking to fish. It was getting to the point where it was a job for me, and I don't like that. I do love producing videos. I'm still going to do that. But I felt like traveling around the country for these big tournaments was something that was like weighing on me a lot. So I took this time off this year of big tournaments. I did have the opportunity to take my dad to Lake St. Clair. I took Dusty Smith Jr. to this Lake St. Clair the same week. That was an amazing trip. I'm definitely planning it again this year. We had an amazing time. We caught a bunch of big fish, hammered down on some giant smallmouth. Finished up that trip by going to Lake Erie on the way home and fished with Get Hook Charters. Chuck Dotson, Scott Mowry, those guys always put us on the meat. Filled the freezer up with some walleye there and came home. And since then, even before that, I've caught a bunch of fish. I caught a really big fish this spring, fishing with Brandon Buckner in my boat. It seems like it's an eternity ago, guys, but I hit something at Grayson this spring. Actually, I think it was late fall. It was about this time last year. I hit something at Grayson down at Winter Pool. Turns out it jacked my lower unit up on my boat. State Farm, again, you guys have heard me talk about it for a while, but State Farm has, they've earned my business for years, but they'll continue earning my business because, I had an accident, called them up. Literally within a week later, I had the check for my lower unit. Freedom Outdoors up there took care of me. Had a brand new lower unit put on it in a week, and everything's been going good so far. Everything's pretty cool. Herb Parks, it's Smalley time. You're right, man. I'm going back out. I'm going out this weekend somewhere. It's supposed to be, I'd say, I think it's supposed to be in the 50s, which is okay. I got up Sunday morning to go fishing this past Sunday, and it was snowing outside. So I was like, nope, I'm going back to bed, and that's exactly what I did. I love to fish, but I was planning on going to Grayson, and there's no smallmouth in there, and I wasn't interested in getting uber cold. However, I do have Stormer gear, which definitely makes it that much better. No, Aaron, if you're talking about wanting the reels, I haven't sold them. I have, like I said, I'll shoot you a message. I think I have 5 Crown Arc E series. We'll figure it out. If you're interested in them, I'll shoot you a price. If you want them, you can have them. Hey, Devin, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining in. And Wayne boys, Carson and Kipton are watching. What's up, fellas? Heard you guys smoked them out there at Summersville. Fellas here, old Carson and Kipton are going to be on the show next week talking about their uber production of catching fish this past weekend at the Great Outdoors tournament there at Summersville Lake. So we can't wait to have those guys on there. Bunch of cool kids, man. Their dad and everybody I met through the tackle boxes through my show. You're not going to find any better people, and it's going to be a treat to have them on next week. So make sure you join back in at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time next Tuesday. There we are. Them Wayne boys. What's up, fellas? Yeah, I'm glad you guys had a good tournament. Sounds like you guys really whacked them. I'm going to show you guys a really quick clip here, really quick. That was a tongue twister. A really quick clip here of the biggest bass that was caught by me over this year. Caught it at Lake X. I'm not going to give it away. It's a Kentucky. That's the only thing I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to ruin this for this fisheries. These guys will go down there and catch their fish. If you know where it's at, just keep it to yourself. I don't want anybody really knowing where it's at because it's not my place to give it out. But here is the biggest bass I caught all year long, which was right at 6 pounds. And here it is. Maybe. Oh, here we go. Huh.
I didn't get it. That's my.
Oh. It's a decent one. Yeah, it's a good one. Coming up. Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
That.
That's a good one right there, boys. Yeah, baby. That's a 6 pounder, maybe. It's at least 5. Hammered that chunk crawl. Freaking mowed it. So it is right at 6 pounds. Caught it on a 3.5 inch jackal chunk crawl in blue and black, and it is absolutely the biggest bass I caught all year. I caught a 4. Let's see, what was it? A 5.3. Let's see. Oh, lying to you. It was 4 pounds 9 ounces. Smallmouth was the biggest smallmouth I caught all year. Dusty Smith at Lake St. Clair ended up winning the lure lock challenge that I always have, you know. And if you fish with me or I fish with you in your boat, we set a a solar bat sunglass challenge weight. So if we fish with you like a Grayson, I think a 5 pounder is a trophy size fish at Grayson. So the only thing you have to do is catch one 4 pounds or bigger, and you win a pair of solar bat sunglasses. Compliments of myself and Gary Nesty from Solar Bat Sunglasses, which I'd like to take this opportunity really quick to give a shout out to Aaron Martins, who we had just lost. He finally, lost his battle with brain cancer. It was a huge loss. It was a huge shot over the bow for all fishermen. If you knew who he was, I never personally met him, but he was one of my favorite fishermen to watch. But he was also on the Solar Bat Pro staff. And, I hate to hear it about Aaron. Was one of my favorite guys to watch. So prayers go out to his family that everything is working out for them all right. I feel like everything works out the way it should in the end, but I'm definitely going to miss seeing him on the water, and I'm sure you guys are too. But Dusty Smith ended up winning a pair of Solar Bat sunglasses for catching a 5 pound large or smallmouth at Lake St. Clair. He caught the biggest actually, I'm lying to you. I was going to say he caught the biggest smallmouth of anybody I know at Lake St. Clair that was fishing with me. But Kyle ended up catching an absolute swamp donkey up there this past year. It was almost 6 pounds. It was an absolute beast. You can take a look at that on my YouTube channel. If you go back some of the videos, it is the one where we're fishing in May. Pretty great time there. Yeah, so I've heard about that. I've heard people say that there's smallmouth in Grayson. I think, if I'm not mistaken, let's see, who was it that showed me? Nate Witt showed me a picture of him holding a smallmouth, and he claimed it was Grayson. There was some rocks and stuff around him, so it did play in that it was Grayson, but he caught one. I've never caught one. Got a lot of spots. There's a ton of spots in there. I've heard word on the street, and I'm not sure if this is legit or not. If you guys know, let me know in the comments. But I've heard word on the street is that the Division of Wildlife in Kentucky is going to lower the slot limit next year to like 14 inches for largemouth at Grayson. And if that's the case, why not lower it to 12? First off, I had one of the most epic days I've ever had, second to when me and Kyle caught 21 pound in our best 5 fish at Grayson. But I had an epic day throwing a giant 11-inch old monster worm by Zoom on a Carolina rig out there. It caught a bunch of fish. Caught one right at 5 pounds. I caught 4 keepers off the same point, which is amazing. I've never done that ever in my life, but unless I'm at like St. Clair or somewhere. But Grayson was awesome. But, I think that they need to go down to the 12-inch slot limit just to get some of those smaller fish out of there, because you can go there and catch 100 12-inch dinks in the summertime. But a keeper, no way. Collegiate match fishing. What is up? And I'm not sure who you're talking about. That guy owed me money. Let me know who that is. Oh, let's see here. back to the season recap again. Had a great tournament season this year. I fished small tournaments again. I don't want to make this any bigger than it is, because I'm not even saying that I fished any giant tournaments, but I had some of the most fun this summer fishing than I ever have. Just smash mouth fishing. You pull up, you pay your money, you fish. Better person with the biggest weight of fish comes in, takes the money home. Fished 10, or let's say I fished 8 tournaments this year, and I finished in the money in 5 of them, which I'll take that any given Sunday. I'm telling you, that is what I'm talking about. That is a great production, and I am not mad at it at all. So fished a few tournaments. Again, didn't get any big tournaments. Shout out to Brandon Klein. That dude was hammering them this year. Finished second at Del Hollow in the Toyota Series. Come home with like a cool $25,000 check. Almost, about walked away with like 75 grand, which is crazy to think about. Dude's a hammer. That's between him and, Chris Malone winning the Toyota Series championship last year, and then Brandon coming in and finished second like this year. Like, it just goes to show the people that fish around this area are some of the best on the planet. I think it's because our fishery is so tough. You have to be, which is really the way I think it is. So again, we had a lot of fun. I caught a lot of fish. I managed to go to St. Clair probably more times this year than I ever have. Quick note, 1 year ago yesterday, I was at Lake St. Clair fishing. Me and Kyle was cold, uber cold. It was like 17 degrees when we woke up one morning. We fished 3 days, never caught we caught one single smallmouth in 3 days at Lake St. Clair. And if you've ever been there, I feel like you can fall out of the boat in the summertime or in the spring, definitely in the spring. I feel like you can fall out of the boat with a rod in your hand and a Ned rig tied on it, and you're going to catch one. But in the November fall area where we were fishing, they were nowhere to be found. Like, I feel like they moved plumb out of Lake St. Clair. It was crazy. It was nuts. But anyway, so the season was great. I had an amazing time. Fished a lot. Now let's talk about some of the most producing techniques for me for the 2021 fishing season. And by far and away, the most productive local technique that I caught the most fish on this summer was a wacky rigged 4-inch Yum Dinger, and it's watermelon red flake. I literally have bought the tackle box out 3 or 4 times. I go up there and buy the whole entire, the whole shelf full of them out because I used that many of them this year. I was throwing it on a 16th ounce Jackal tungsten weedless wacky rig head, throwing it on braid, usually on a medium Zodius rod with a Stratic CI4 at that point, but I've upgraded my Stratics now to Vanford reels. But I usually use 15-pound braid all the way to the leader, which I've stepped down from using 10-pound Sunline FC Sniper to now using 8-pound on my spinning rods, and I feel like I'm catching more fish and I'm getting better. I'm getting more bites, especially on those finesse techniques. That was absolutely the most productive technique that I had. You cannot go without saying the Texas rig. I throw a Texas rig every day of my life. If I'm fishing, you can bet your rear end I got a Texas rig tied on, usually some form of Zoom bait. This year, I started throwing a Berkeley power worm a lot. The 7-inch power worm. I threw it a ton and got bit a pile. It was an awesome bait. Love it. The Berkeley flatworms are amazing up in Lake St. Clair. One of the things I did learn this year when I was at Lake St. Clair, we were bed fishing, which it is what it is. Some people are not for it. Some people like to do it. I personally, we're catch and release. I don't like to stay on them all the time, but I don't care to catch a fish out of a bed every now and again. But long story short, we were throwing Ned rigs in beds, and Kyle and I, we absolutely smoked them one day. We caught 60-some fish in one day. And at Lake St. Clair, that's a great day, but it's not unheard of. Like, you catch 100+ in a day, depending on where you're at. But we started catching them. But I will tell you, this year, if I find some fish on a bed, you can bet your rear end I'm going to throw a drop shot in those beds. I was throwing a Ned rig in there just thinking that if it was in their bed, they would eat it more often. I found out this year that if you drop a drop shot on a smallmouth bed, I guess it's where it's eye level to them, they will absolutely destroy that thing. Hey, Fred, man, it's good to see you too, buddy. Yeah, everything's going good. Mark Hickey, dude. I'm glad you're on here, man, because Moore roasted you today. Like, I'm not sure, and I think your wife nailed it. I'm not sure how he has that much time on his hands, but that might have been one of the most classic burn videos that I've seen in a long time. I watched it and I was absolutely flabbergasted because I was like, this is pretty legit. He's got a storyline and everything. Pat, I'm still laughing about it, man. Eric, if you're on here, which I don't know if you are or not, but kudos to you, man. Like, that was classic. Pink floating worm. Yep. So, hey, man, I like that too. Man, this year again, most popular, most producing techniques for me again was the wacky rigged 4-inch Yum Dinger, which is obviously made by Yum. It's a Cinco 4-inch. I like the 4-inch size, especially for that technique a lot. I did just pick up the brand new to the market. I don't have any down here, or I would show you one. The brand new Weedless Ned rig. It's actually called the Weedless Finesse head. Which, by the way, quick word here. If you have the new Do It Molds catalog, which you can download on their website, or you can get one sent to you. Or if you already have one sent to you, there is 2 ugly dudes in there somewhere, like on page 5, I think. I think it's page 5 here. Let me see. I'll just show you. Yeah. So let's see here. So you can see right there in the old Do It Mold, the 2022 Do It Mold book, their catalog. Me and Kyle here on 2 giant smallmouth that we caught at Lake St. Clair on their weedless, or not on the weedless, but the actual Ned rig there, which, you know, has been one of my baits to go to, especially smallmouth. But I wanted to throw them around here in and around cover. And we all know you're not throwing a Ned rig in and around cover because it's an open jig head. It has the open hook. So they've now partnered with Victory Hooks, and they've created a weedless finesse jig or weedless finesse mold. I bought one. I've had one about a month. The mold is finally available again, so you can go over to Do It and pick them up, or go up to the taco box in South Point and have Greg order you one. But the hooks are now in stock with Victory too. But I just now picked that up and I started fishing that, and I've caught some fish on it, and it's actually gives me another way to throw finesse baits in techniques and specific things where I wouldn't have the opportunity. Like, for example, if fish are being really finicky and I know they're relating to cover, of course I'm going to pitch a jig in there. I'm going to throw a Texas rig, but it gives me a smaller presentation of something that I can pitch into cover in and around things, and actually, have another, another club in my golf bag, if you will. And the thing about that is, like, I feel like so we all know that we have the Z-Man Elastec. They are the TRD, the Ned rig worms, or the TRD worms. They have Elastec, so they stretch out like a foot long. Well, it's really tough to get the hook to get buried into, to get texposed, if you will, so that they, I like my hook coming out of the baits and then texpose them back in there. I feel like I get more better hook sets. But it's really tough to do that with the Z-Man TRD worms because of the Elastec. Is it impossible? No. Is it something that you're going to have to get used to? Yes. But I found myself I started throwing the Jackal Yammy fish on it, which it doesn't float. It doesn't stand up in the water like a TRD worm is supposed to. I've been told by people on my channel that it actually doesn't stand up. I need to do a video on that and see if that actually happens. But I was throwing the Yammy fish because it's not as elastic. There's not a lot of elasticity to it. But you're going to use more of them because it's not as elastic. There's not as much elasticity to it. But I feel like that it gives me a better option. It's also a little heavier, so it sinks a little faster. Tag me in the video if you do. Hey, Micah. No, man, I haven't yet. Well, as good as it's going to get. I never really winterize my boat because I usually, if it's a nice day, I just go get in and go. My boat is not in a climate controlled vicinity. It's just in a garage, but it is in a garage. Guys, the only thing I do to my boat, and this is me, so don't take this for any kind of advice of what you should do. But if the only thing I do, guys, with my boat, and I have a 2006 E-Tech 250. It has a routine that you can turn the key switch a couple different ways, and it'll actually inject oil into the cylinders and fog them themselves, which is actually a really cool deal. But personally, the only thing I do is drop my motor all the way down. I have a hydraulic jack plate, so I push the jack plate as high as it'll go. Well, not as high as it'll go. I don't want to be a lot of stress on the jack plate, but I put it up in my garage and I tilt the motor all the way down to the floor and let any water that's remaining in there run out. And I also definitely check my lower unit lube to make sure that it's not milky and there's no water in there. But at that point, guys, I just pull the plug and make sure everything in my boat, as far as my live wells and stuff, are not, they don't have water in them. I do fill my my gas tank all the way to the top, and there's a lot of different people that will tell you not to do that. A lot of people will tell you to run it all the way out and then have fresh gas for next year. But I've also heard people say that, you're leaving room for condensation and moisture to be drawn in there if you leave a gap of air between the gas tank and the gas. So personally, last thing I do is go to when I get done fishing, like I went, fished last weekend on the Ohio River down in the Meldal pool. So I just, on the way home, I filled it up full of fuel and it's in my garage. So I take all my baits and stuff out, which is, it kind of sucks because if I want to go fishing, I just take a couple rods and a few baits and go. But that's basically all I do, man. What's up, Matthew Strickland? What's up, buddy? First off, let's talk about those shads you guys caught. I mean, I'm talking like you guys didn't catch one, you caught like 1,000,000. Like that is one of the most epic videos I've ever seen in my life. Like 2 full live wells and laying on the deck of the boat. You should be set up for catfishing for sure. Andrew 6, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining. Yeah, man. I know, man. I'm ready to go. Misty and I have been fishing in what seems like 6 months. I've been fishing a lot, obviously, but Misty and I haven't been out for a while. So we're gonna try to get out Sunday. Potentially, I'm right now getting ready to tear a house down. I think we had this discussion the last time I was on live, which has been midsummer. But I now have the ability to get it tore down, so that's going to be starting soon. So hopefully, if not, I might be out on Sunday or two. Let's see. Oil injection pumps out on my 2,225 Evinrude, and parts are hard to find. Man, I hate to hear that. There's a lot of people that have trouble with oil injection pumps, and a lot of people just do away with them and pre-mix the oil. But man, I just once you have an oil injection pump, it's hard to go back. So I hope you find some stuff, man. If there's anybody out there that can help Fred out with an oil injection pump for 2,225 Evinrude. So a 2,000, that's probably, is that a Fitch, or is it Ficht injection, or is that the E-Tech? I think the E-Tech was like 2004 or 5, and it's probably a Ficht. I can't say it. Ficht. You know what I mean. Ficht injection, I think it is. 7,000 shad. That's what I'm talking about, man. I'll tell you what you need to do, and it's almost impossible to do. If you can catch some of those things in the summertime and keep them alive, now that is the pay leg bait, my friend. What's up, Adam? Yeah, I'm glad to be back too, man. Like I said, I took a break over the summer just to focus on fishing, and I think it was just kind of everybody was fishing. Everybody had like baseball going on. Everybody had soccer, and everybody was out fishing. So now it just gives us something to do here in the cold months, because we can't really go out and do any ice fishing, right? We don't get hard water here, which I'm glad of. But then again, it'll be fun to go out and catch one. Yeah, Misty had a tumble there a few weeks ago when we were fishing, or when we were hiking in the mountains, fell and broke her arm. So we're going to go try to catch one. She's probably going to catch an absolute swamp donkey. I'm talking like I'm probably one for the ages. Really? Most banned live shad? Back when I was doing it, it's banned. So first off, I am a one or three times a year pay lake fisherman. I like going out and hanging out with my dad, Misty, and fishing. I'm not nowhere near as as good of a fisherman as you or a lot of people here, but we had a pay lake that we were fishing at Sky for a long time, and they were having problems with shad in the lake, and they were allowing us to throw net the shad in the lake and use them for bait. But I'm going to tell you what, the most epic bait I've ever fished for catfish in my entire life was at Sky Lake. We were fishing, and it was cold as all get out, man. It was in March. It was around my birthday, back when they were stocking rainbow trout. They were doing farm-raised rainbow trout. You could go there for 10 or 12 bucks or whatever, pay and catch your limit of trout and take them home. We were there fishing in the big lake because they turned trout loose in there to fish or to feed the actual catfish. So we were fishing a small lake, and we asked them if we could go over and fish the big lake for catfish. And like, sure, we just haven't stocked anything in a while. So we went over and we're using trout guts that we were catching in the lake and using their guts for bait. And we absolutely smacked them. We caught like 40 or 50 in one day. Biggest one was on my birthday, March 12th. It was like a 64-pound shovelhead. It was just awesome. Deer hunt? Who deer hunts anymore, man? Like, I can't say that. I deer hunt one time a year. I pay my license and I go gun hunting with my dad the very first day, which is the week Monday after Thanksgiving. And then I enjoy doing that. But other than that, excuse me, I got everything in the world to go kill a deer with my bow. I have a super nice Summit Viper tree stand still hanging in my garage. I love deer hunting. Don't get me wrong. I love to eat deer meat. It's one of my favorite meals on the planet. But man, when you shoot a deer, that's when the work starts. And nowadays, man, what cracks me up is like deer hunting now is like more technologically advanced than fishing, and that's hard to believe. And it's weird. So like if you think about this, if you can go out buy a $5,000 graph, right? And you could see fish swimming in the water that you're catching them in, which is amazing. But now there's trail cameras that will send you trail cam pictures to your freaking cell phone. Come on, man. It's not like that's, I mean, like, you know, what would really be my biggest deal is I go out and set, I have 2 or 3 stands set up and I go up in one tree stand. And next thing you know, my phone's getting blown up and I look at my phone and here comes, the absolute mossy horns of all mossy horns comes walking by my other tree stand because I wasn't there, which is crazy. Yeah, no. So Misty's broken arm's not going to stop me, Andrew. I'm going to fish in one way or the other. So hopefully she can get out and if nothing else, man, she reels with her left hand or with her right hand on a spinning reel, and that's just not my style. So maybe I can switch her over to the reeling with the old left hand on the old egg beater there, and come over to the good side. Yeah, man, they'll take over. I get that, but I don't know. If catfish really eat them as much as they say they do, it's just like bluegill, right? People go out and catch a bluegill and they could throw it off their hook, right? Bluegill are one of the most crazy hard fish to kill anyway. Giant hole in their back and they'll swim and live forever. Well, you see them in there that are giant. And my favorite is seeing a goldfish that's like 2 pounds out there that's been living forever. Anything new coming to Tackle Box that you know of? Well, let's just talk about the newest thing that is in stock there. So this is a good segue into that. So brand new to the Shimano world is the new 150. This is a Corrado MGL 150 series, 150 size. So before this reel come out, you had the Corrado 70, which is a phenomenally sized reel. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's one of my go-to small crankbait reels. I actually throw all my mid-range crankbaits on a 70 series. If you throw 10 to 12 pound test, you're not going to be able to spool it. It's not that tiny. If you guys ever fish the Chronarch 50 series, that is a flipping and pitching series reel only. You're not going to be able to put a ton of line on that. But this is a happy medium between the 70 series and the 200 series. The 200 series right now is still one of my absolute go-to reels. I like the wider spool. I like the deeper spool. I like that you can hold a lot more line. Take, for instance, in April of this year, I'm going to the Holy Land of all Holy Lands. Myself and Dusty Smith are going to Lake Fork, Texas to fish Lake Fork there. And I just ordered a new swim bait rod, an IMX Pro 904C SBR swim bait rod. But I bought it for not only bigger swim baits, but I also bought it to throw a giant flutter spoon on it. I want to throw 4, 5, 6-inch flutter spoons while I'm out there. And I also want to, I think it would be a great technique here at Grayson. My thought was to pick up a 150. I'm going to be slinging this thing, man. Big baits and stuff. I want that 200. I do now have a 70 series, a 150 that you see here. I have the 200. And on my really big bait rod, like my A-rig rod and stuff that I throw like the Mag Draft on, which is a 7-foot, 5-inch heavy Xsense rod, or it's not, I'm lying to you. It's a, let's see. SLX. That's what it is. It's a 7'5" heavy SLX rod and a 300 series Corrado. But let's talk about this reel, what makes it special. First and foremost, this is a 150 series. So again, it's a happy medium between the 70 series and the 200. Thinner spool. I've held this reel and the 70 series up right side by side, and I cannot tell the difference in the actual weight or the actual frame size of this. You're getting the Hagane body, which is a one-piece all metal frame. You get micro module gearing, which is basically coming standard in all Shimano reels right now, which is crazy to think about. This is a 6.2 to 1 gear ratio, but it does come in a 7 and an 8. Has 13 pounds of drag. I'm reading over here, guys. I don't want to mess this up. Weight is 6.5 ounces, 6+1 gear. And at the 6.2 to 1 gear ratio, it brings in 24 inches of line per handle crank. This is the newest thing that is at the tackle box right now, and it is absolutely flying off the shelf. So if you guys have watched any of my videos, you'll also notice that the Loomis line of things came out with a new rod that is actually replacing the E6X called the GCX. And I don't know if there's any more available, but Greg Drown had the best deal on the E6X rods I've ever seen. I think they were like $149, if I'm not mistaken. It was crazy. He was trying to blow them out. Corey, dude, I'm down. Like, I'm ready to travel out that way. I'm tired of fishing down here. I know you're not real close to Mille Lacs. I don't know. Maybe I can fly out your way one day and just hop in your boat or a boat, or I don't care. That's a long drive out there, but I'd love to come fishing with you. Maybe we can meet up at St. Clair or something. I know you like to fish up there too, and it's basically, similar to where you're from originally. But so I'm down. See, Nate, that's how I killed mine this year, right? So, bing. 6 o'clock. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, live scope, man. So live scope. So now the hunting version of that, if you guys want to make $1 million, just have a live scope. So you have your crossbow in a tree already loaded, and you can like move it and kill a deer while you're sitting on your couch watching your trail camera. Hey, Bill, thanks for joining, man. Do I fish in the winter? Absolutely, when I can. I'm from Southern Ohio. I don't know if you know that or not, but Southern Ohio is a weird territory, man. Like, we don't get water cold enough for hard ice, hard water season. We don't get ice fishing season, but it does get just cold enough for you to freeze your ever-loving hind end off. You go out there and the wind will cut you in two. So to answer your question, do I fish in the winter? Absolutely, when I can, when it's not sub-zero conditions. But again, I will tell you guys, and this is not a plug because they are an affiliate of the show, but Stormer, the reason I started fishing Stormer gear is the fact that they make a neoprene suit. It used to be called the Prime suit. Now it's actually called the Striker suit, but it's full neoprene and it does absolutely keep me the warmest I've ever been in my life. Do you want to wear it in the summertime? No, because you will be roasting. It'll be like a sauna. But I'll tell you, I fished the other day. It was like 23 degrees when we backed the boat in the water for that river tournament. And I wore jeans and a long sleeve t-shirt underneath it, and I was comfortable all day long. I love fishing. I love fishing cold, water and cold weather. I'm just not that good at it. I got to get better. I've got some pictures of me with 2 or 3 pound bass when there's snow flying around and I'm bundled up. So, fish have to eat. Answer your question. Yes, not near as often as I do in the summertime. Yeah, man, I saw that buck you killed the other day, Matthew. It was a heck of a nice buck. Yeah, man. Let me know, Corey. I'm definitely in. So let's talk about that's a decent segue into this right here. My plans for next year. Plans for next year as a whole is to produce more and better content. Right now, I'm in a super lull when it comes into my YouTube channel. I was averaging about 75 to 130 new subscribers a month, which I was absolutely thrilled with. I set these really high goals of like 1,000 subscribers a year and 5,000 total and 4,000 total. And, you know how you eat an elephant one bite at a time. Right. So, I just kept trying and I'm still going. And right now I'm at this point where I'm getting like 30 to 40 subscribers, which is still on the positive swing of things, but it's not where I want to be. My goal for next year, one of the biggest things I want to do is that I want to produce more and better content. And I want to get with more and better people that produce content, i.e. people like Fluke Master, Gene Jensen, if you know who that is. He's been on my show several times. He's invited me 100 times to come fishing down there around his area. Why do I not go? Too busy. That is not a good idea. That is not a good answer. Heading up north, talk to Ben Nowak, try to get with him, do some fishing. Maybe Tyler Anderson, Tyler's Real Fishing. All these people are interested in doing some fishing and collaborating. I just have to make the time to do it. That is what I plan on doing next year. However, my goal for this year, the reason I took this season off is I want to fish the entire Toyota series as a co-angler, which is going to be one of the most expensive things I've ever done in my life as far as fishing. It's $550 a tournament, which if you're fishing as the boater side, you're thinking $550. Man, I wish mine was $550 because the boater's like $1,550. But I want to throw my hat in the Toyota series. I've been talking about it since it was the Costa series, and I've never done it just for the simple fact is that it's so expensive. But the other issue is that the people that create these tournament series make it really tough for people like me to fish it. It's like you either have to own your own business, you either have to be in a situation where you're not a high school teacher, that's for sure, or 2 or 3 that you have sponsors and you do this stuff for a living, which all 3 is great unless you're me and you're a high school teacher. Like, for example, so the best series for me would be I think it's the Central Division, if I'm not mistaken, of the Toyota series, but that falls in like March, April, and then May as a lot of the tournaments, and they're in like Gunnersville and Chickamauga and things, which is closer to me than the rest of them. But the tournaments are like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like something about being a high school teacher and trying to take off work during the week, they kind of frown upon that. Like, hey, look, we give you 3 months off in the summer. You probably shouldn't be trying to take work off during the school year. I get it. Not saying that that's wrong. I'm just telling you that they make it tough for me to fish those tournaments. So they do have I think it's called the Northern Division in the Toyota series, which is going to cause me to travel a lot more. Some of them they're way north and east of me in Ohio. There's someone like it's going to be a lot more strenuous on me. But what I'm saying is I need your help to try to boost my YouTube following, maybe get some views up, because that's how I'm hoping to pay for it. And right now, it is a very long shot to make that happen. But anything you can do to get some new people to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. Next, also for next year, going back to Lake St. Clair a couple times, but my first trip, no matter what, I'm planning again going to Lake Fork. I'm super excited to get down there. Never fished Texas ever in my life. Matter of fact, I've never caught a fish in Texas. So this is going to be one of those things where I'm going to add that fish to my checked off states, hopefully in Florida or down in Texas at Lake Fork. I'm going big or going home. I'm throwing big baits for hammer fish. I don't want to go down there and catch a 2-pounder, man. I'm going down there to catch a 5+ every day. We're fishing for 4 days. I'm going to be throwing, again, I'm going to throw a 5-6 inch flutter spoon, jerk bait, crankbait, big jig, the biggest Texas rig I can find. If they sell a 15-inch Texas rig worm, I'm going to throw it because why not? I'm down there to catch bigs. I can catch 2-pounders here at the house. Not a lot, but I can catch a few of them. I'm going down there. We're going to go hog hunting and try to catch my PB as well as Dusty's PB. And it may not happen, but you guys are going to stick around with the On Another Line show to find that out. We'll be going there at mid-April, which should be absolute phenomenal. And you're probably saying, hey, didn't you just say something about not being able to get off work during the school year? Yeah, well, that's my spring break, and that's how that I am making that happen. So my plans for next year, I'm hoping to fish Lawrence County as the local tournament series, jump in with Lewis County Lunkers when I can. And then I am going to try to fish the Toyota series as a co-angler, which is a huge thing that I want to do. It's going to take a lot. Do I drop shot? Absolutely, man. My favorite drop shot bait on the planet right now has got to be, and this is, I don't know, I can't say a lot. I'm going to say my favorite right now is a Jackal eye shad in, I think it's called Blue Pearl. But the Berkeley flatworms are to die for, man. You can catch fish on them. I love them. I like that you can buy bulk packs of them. You can get like 25 worms or 25 of the flatworms in a bag, which is basically like 5 or 6 bags normally together. Throw a drop shot a lot. My rig for a drop shot, I like a little longer rod for a drop shot. So I usually throw about a 7.2, 7.3 inch or 7-foot 3-inch. Right now I am throwing usually my drop shot is it's, well, it used to be an NRX, which I sold, but it's the 840, let's see, what was it? Man, I've lost my train of thought because I don't have the rod anymore. Hold on a second here. I can tell you. An 852, 7-foot, 1-inch, 2-power spinning rod NRX with a Vanford on it. 15 pounds Power Pro line braid. Throw whatever color you want. I like the moonshine color. Onyx is a really good color too if you don't like something that's really bright. Going to a 10 or 8 to 10 pound Sunline fluorocarbon FC Sniper leader. I throw big drop shot weights, like not huge, like 3/8 probably ish. I like to be able to feel the bottom. And another thing is obviously the leader length. So if you're fishing, if you're casting really far and you're making really long casts, my advice to you to catch more fish on a drop shot is make that leader longer than you think it should be. Normally we think about an 8 to 12 inch leader. Boost that up to like 24 inches. It makes it a little tougher to cast. But here, if you think about how this happens, right? So if the boat's here and you're making long casts, you know, you're way out here with your cast. Let's say that it's 50, 60 yards. When this thing sinks, what's going to happen is you're going to have a bow in your line. And the farther you cast, it's going to bring that, you know, when you pull that line tight, the shorter the leader from your drop shot weight to your hook, it's going to make that thing drag all right on the bottom of the lake, especially if you're making long casts. If you're making really long casts for finicky bass like at Lake St. Clair or at Erie or Mille Lacs or somewhere like this that get fairly pressured and you're making long casts, lengthen that leader to maybe, I wouldn't go any more than 2 foot, 24 inches, and that'll give you some separation from the bottom from that drop shot. And I find myself that I catch more fish that way. Hey man, what's up, buddy? I saw you you went out and caught some fish today. That's awesome. We are going we're going to Lake Fork the mid. So it's April 15th, I think, is when we're heading out there. I can tell you exactly what day it would be the week right after Easter. So I'm actually flying out of here Easter Sunday in the evening and getting out there. And we're fishing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we're driving home on Thursday after we get done fishing. So that's when I'm headed to Lake Fork. Yeah, man. I'll be throwing an A rig too. You're right. So in the Fork, I have the A rig. Any kind of big bait big bass bait, I'm gonna be throwing it. Mac draft, you name it. Like I said, I'm not going down there for babies. We're talking. It's a 14-hour drive from my house. We're not driving. I'm flying down there. Dusty's picking me up. He's leaving from Alabama, so it's not a huge amount of driving. It's like 8 hours for him, which is not absurd. But it's 14 to 16 hours from here to get down there. So if you're driving that far to catch an absolute swamp donkey of a bass, you might as well just swing for the fences, because guess what? You're not catching an 8-pounder here either. But I'm going to have the best chance to catch one possible. Yeah, you're right, Corey. And that's one of the biggest things. The reason I stopped really trying to pursue the BFL as a co-angler. And the reason is that I was paying $200 to $300, even $350 when they raised it for a while as a co-angler to fish these tournaments. And they're fairly large tournaments, right? They're not like small tournaments. So for example, I finished, the highest I ever finished in my life was 6th place. And that was at a BFL super tournament, right? So you pay double the entry fee because you pay both days. There was 140 some boats at this super tournament. Finished 6th. I paid $200 to enter, and I made $490 for the check. I by the time I had room and board and gas and pre-fishing and baits and you name it, I went in the hole a bunch. So, but I will tell you, you hit it on the nail head there. Being a co-angler, in my opinion, allows me to become a better fisherman, no doubt. And a lot of people always ask me, why are you fishing as a co-angler? You got a decent boat. You feel like got a decent amount of skills. I do feel like I can compete with a lot of people. However, it goes back to having the time off to fish those later tournaments, like the super tournaments and the regionals and things. And that's when I'm back in school, and I just can't take off weeks of work to go down and pre-fish. And I don't want to put somebody who's worked their tail end off as a co-angler as a disadvantage just because I want to try to fish as a boater. That's 100% of the reason I don't do it. Yeah, I caught a 4-pounder. You're right, Andrew, at Grayson on a drop shot, and that was on an ice shad. I caught the biggest fish I caught at Grayson this year was right at 5 pounds, and I caught that on a Carolina rig. But you're right, man. Thanks for bringing that up, dude. Berkeley flatworms right now are hotter than a meth pipe on payday, and I'm not kidding you. They are absolutely flying off the shelf. Here's how I can tell you. I don't know about in your area, but here at the Tackle Box in South Point, Ohio, I talk to Greg almost weekly. He posts weekly if he gets new flatworms and any kind of Berkeley stuff because it's going out the door as fast as he can get it. He had 125 bulk packs. Again, and these bulk packs are I think they're $25 a pack or $30 a pack because they have they're multiple packs in one. He had 125 bulk packs delivered to his store on a Monday, and by Tuesday at the end of day, he had sold every single pack of them. It's nuts. Dude, if you had a truckload of them and posted them online, you could sell every one of them all day long. And I don't know why. Not that they're great baits. What I'm saying is I don't know why production is not, one, ramped up, or two, they just can't keep up. Probably the supply and demand. First off, it keeps the price up. Second off, nobody wants to work anymore. Like, nobody wants to go to a job and actually work. So they're probably having a hard time trying to find people to work. And as far as the collar selections, I don't think so. I think they're just hard to make them. April 15th. So I'm going to catch a 10-pounder for your birthday, Matthew, if that's okay. Mitch, I hope you're talking about Lake Fork, man. Never been there. Again, we might go down there and just get absolutely skunked. But if a blind hog has got to find a nut every now and again, and that I'm hoping is me to go down there and just absolutely lean on one, set the hook. You guys know how it feels. You set the hook on a big one, man, and you got that rod just doubled up, and you can hear that line like pinging in your actual guides. You just know you got an absolute hammer. Usually when I do that, I'm like, oh, it's a big one, and it's about a 500-pound stump. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Speaking of which, if you guys, you know, I don't want to like rehash a bad day here, but Aaron Strickland had one day for the books today, and it was a bad day. Hooks like a 45-inch muskie on the river, grabs the net to, I don't know, do what you would do. Net said muskie, hooks a poison adrena and a Vanford on the same rod, chunks that baby in the Ohio River. Man, oh man, oh man, what a day. Lost the fish, by the way. Didn't even get the fish. Didn't even catch it, dude. That is a terrible day. Give a little moment of silence for Strick, man. I feel bad for you. 2 hours away from Lake Fork. Dude, are you not in the absolute hammer hole of all hammer holes? Again, I'm going to be throwing big baits for big fish. A-rig, flutter spoon, mag draft. I don't know. I'll probably go out there and I'm not even taking a spinning rod. No way. I'm not doing it. I'm either going to catch them on a casting rod or I'm not catching them. But I don't know. Maybe I'll shoot you a message, Mitch. Maybe you can give me some ideas where to start, because any idea to give me to get on that would be a huge deal. Guys, we are right now 1 hour practically into the show. I do want to take this opportunity really quick to talk about some of the people that helped me out this year, and I don't want to go without saying the people that have helped me out. Shimano, G Loomis, Jackal, Power Pro, they have hooked me up more than anybody I've ever seen. Like, they allow me to fish the best possible equipment on the planet, and I get the stuff, practically when it comes out through Greg at the Tackle Box. And that's another person that's helped me out a lot. Tackle Box, South Point, Ohio, Greg Drown, Debbie Drown. Those people are more than good to me. JB's Fish Sauce. If you guys don't know, I do have my own series of JB's Fish Sauce called Pinch O Garlic. Here very soon, I'm going to be doing a giveaway now that we're back live. Maybe next week when we have them Wayne boys on talking about their hammering time down there at the at Summersville. Maybe we'll do a giveaway then. But if you're interested in getting your hands on some JB's Fish Sauce, jbsfishsauce.com. If you use the code OALL, that's like on another line live. So that's the letter O, not zero, OALL 20. Save you 20% off anything at JB's Fish Sauce. Get the spray pinch of garlic. See how it does. You won't regret it. Lure Lock, absolutely phenomenal company to work for. I've been a part of the Lure Lock team for about 3 years now, and they have absolutely exceeded my expectations when it comes to that stuff. They absolutely hook me up no matter what. Odyssey Batteries. Without Odyssey, guys, my boat goes, with Odyssey Batteries, I run PCM 2150s. That's 2150 cold cranking amps, which is nuts. But I've had the batteries 3 years now, and they have never let me down. Have the most power of any battery I've ever seen in my life. Love them. I wish there was a local dealer. If anybody's in this area that sells batteries, look Odyssey up. I've had several people want to know where I can buy them locally. Nobody sells them around here, and you can't buy them online as far as I know. They're dealer only. But Odyssey Batteries definitely been there for me. Solar Bat Sunglasses has been huge. They allow me the opportunity to fish their glasses every year, which is amazing. I've partnered with Yolatech for the past 5 years now. I just picked up some new products from them as well. They allow me to bring my days on the water to you, powering my GoPros and all my action cameras, which is an amazing deal. And again, there's so many people out there that help me out, especially local people and things. And you guys out there that promote my show is amazing. So we're back live now for the remainder of the fall and winter season. So we're going to be going live every Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you on Facebook and YouTube Live. We have a couple young anglers coming on the air next week. The Dick brothers, that's their last name. I'm not being, a butthole here. That's their last name. So the Dick boys, them Wayne boys are coming on here. Talk about how they caught them last weekend down at Summersville. So stay tuned for that. If you guys are interested in seeing somebody on the show, or if you want to be a part of the show, I would love for you to be on the show. Let's talk fishing. Right now, it's easier for one, maybe two people to get on there. We can do this live as much as you want. So right now, had a great time talking to you guys. We are back live again until it gets early enough to fish. It gets warm enough to fish. I'm going to try to get out this weekend. If you guys see me on the water, stop and say hi. I appreciate anything you can say. If, stop by, tell me how you're doing. Show me these monsters that you're catching. Also, again, stay tuned for the JB's Fish Sauce, the giveaway that'll be coming up this week. So another thing is that I, Do It Molds is another company that I'm trying to partner with right now. Their molds are second to none, guys. You guys know that. I like to make my own. So right now is bait making season for me. I load up every winter on baits that I use and give away and sell and things. So this is that time. So maybe one day we do some live videos talking about how I'm making baits, and that would be great for me. If you want to see that, drop a comment below or shoot me a message. Again, guys, thanks for joining this episode of On Another Line. We will see you guys next time. Again, thanks, Fred, for joining. I'll be safe. You have a happy Thanksgiving, but we'll see you next week, and then we'll say happy Thanksgiving. So I'll see you. Anyway, long story short, guys, thanks for joining this episode of On Another Line Live. If you can get out there and lean on them, we'll see you next time on Another Line.